Welcome to Professional Insights, sponsored by Dementia Action Alliance. My name is Paula Ann Gordon, and I am on the advisory board for Dementia Action Alliance, and I am also living with vascular dementia. Today, I would like to welcome Brenda Roberts, who is going to speak on the topic of dementia state plans. Let me tell you a little bit about Brenda. Brenda has over 40 plus years in experience in the human services field. She's currently director of quality assurance and education for the Michigan Assisted Living Association. Her degrees include a master's in education administration and community leadership. She has a bachelor's in sociology, and she is certified as a dementia trainer, consultant, and engagement leader. She is the statewide coordinator for Michigan's Medicare and Medicaid programs, and she's the Michigan State Long-Term Care Ombudsman, as well as being on the executive management team for assisted living communities. Brenda recently participated in the development of Michigan's Dementia State Plan, and that is what she is here to discuss with us today. Welcome, Brenda.
Hi, Paula Ann. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming. Can we start out by just talking a little bit about what the purpose of a dementia state plan is and what it contains?
Sure, a dementia state plan. Oh, some states call it an Alzheimer's state plan. And I'm very proud that Michigan chose to use the more inclusive term of a dementia state plan. And Michigan's state plan happens to be called a roadmap for creating a dementia-capable Michigan. And I think that helps explain what the state plan is all about. The state plan sets the groundwork for legislators, policymakers, regulators, in terms of where we're doing great with supports and services for people living with dementia and where we need to improve and enhance our services. So it's really the launching pad for services in your state.
And who is involved in determining what's in the state plan? How do they select the people?
Well, in Michigan, different states may have a different process, but in Michigan, we're called the Michigan Dementia Coalition. So a group of us came together. We had a coalition several years ago, but for whatever reason, it sort of, disbanded and funding was lost, that sort of thing. And so we got together, it was almost 4 years ago, a core group of service providers who said, we need to get the coalition revived. We need a state plan in Michigan. And so together as a group, we just identified who are the key players in the state? Who do we need to bring to the table to help us develop the plan? And so that's an ongoing process because we don't know everybody that's doing things in the state for people living with dementia. And so we're always looking at who do we need at the table? Who do we not have at the table? And we are very cognizant of that. Some of the things that we recently put into place is we want to increase our diversity. And so we have a special committee that's going to look at that and help advise the coalition as a whole on how we can move forward with that. And then we also have what's called a lived experience committee. And the lived experience committee is people living with dementia to be involved in the state plan. But I'm going to back up a little bit, if that's okay. And initially, when we started the state plan, one of the key leaders was AARP. And they have, as you know, a very broad membership base. So one of the first things that we did is use the AARP membership base as well as others and conducted a big survey of what people in the state thought were our strengths and weaknesses as it relates to providing services for people living with dementia. And we had slightly more than 1,500 responses. So we were very pleased with that. The only thing that I personally would have liked us to seen us do is be able to pull out who were the people living with dementia and their responses versus the rest of the world, just so we could say either, oh, look, we're matching, or whoa, there's a big discrepancy. We didn't have the capabilities of doing that at the time. So we're happy to have the input of 1,500 people. And we had we had this development process. It was a 3-year process to get our state plan written. It's amazing how long it takes in getting the right people to the table. And so some of the leadership we have a steering committee. And so it's AARP, it's the University of Michigan, Michigan State University, of course, the Alzheimer's Association, the Alzheimer's Disease Research Center, my organization, which is Michigan Assisted Living Association, area agencies on aging, and of course other organizations. But that was our steering committee, which is still in place.
Well, thank you for that explanation. How can a person find out if they have a state plan and what their state plan, how to find their state plan?
Yes, the Alzheimer's Association has on their website the state plans. And so I Googled that, and it's ACT, so act.alz.org. And you'll find your state plan, and it just lists it. You can go in and click down and drop down and find your state plan. And then they even have a comparison of state plans. So that's interesting. So that's on there as well.
What percentage of states have a state plan? Do you have any idea?
I think the vast majority, because I hate to say it, I think Michigan was one of the few outliers there for a while. But the vast majority, only a few states don't have a state plan, to my knowledge.
Mm-hmm. I think I looked up one for Ohio because that's where I used to live, and I didn't find anything.
I'm gonna click and look real quick and see if it has. You're right, I don't see Ohio on there.
That must be one with Michigan that hasn't quite gotten it together yet.
Right,
so we'll have to push for that.
Right.
Do you have anything else you'd like to add about this state planning process?
It was a learning experience, I think, for everyone. So how we ended up structuring our Michigan Dementia Coalition and then our state plan is we have a steering committee, and then some of those members I identified. So we meet on a monthly basis. And then we've broken down our work into committee work. And so I'm on the lived experience committee. So part of my responsibility is to help recruit people living with dementia. It's so easy to say, let's have those care partners there. And I'm like, yes, that's an important part, but I've been dogged about let's have people living with dementia and their input. And then we have a policy committee. So there's various committees. And then we have a full membership, which consists of, over, I think it's 120 organizations. Wow. And then we come together. I believe we're just still, after 3 years, getting our plan written and developed and kicked off in May. And so we're still sort of figuring our way, but we have that steering committee. And then we have our committees that are doing work, roll up the sleeves work. And elder abuse is like one really hot topic in Michigan right now. The state attorney general's office has developed a task force. So our committee is very involved with that work in coupling up with them. Then in the general membership, which is the 120, opportunity to come together, network, learn about each other, learn about the work that the coalition is doing so they can join in, because we know the power of voices, and in numbers.
Okay, I have one last question for you. I don't know if you have the answer to this or not, but if for people who are in a state that does not have a dementia state plan, is there anyone they can contact or do anything to initiate that process?
I think that if I lived in a state that did not have a dementia plan, I would probably go to my state office on aging. Like in Florida, it's called Elder Affairs. In Michigan, it's Aging and Adult Services. I would go right to the top and say, let this. Another option would be an area agency on aging. That would be another. And then even, your local, because maybe to bite off going to the state is too much right off the bat for a person. So even if you look at a local plan, what's your local commission or council on aging doing to serve persons with dementia? So there's lots of ways you can have impact. And you know what else? We're talking state plans, but you can go to the state, regional, local, or as you well know, your own community, your church, the groups you belong to, and start there, and it just continues to grow. If it's okay, Pauline, I'm going to do just a little bit of bragging about Michigan's plan. Okay. We were very thoughtful, I think, in the process. I mean, I'm really proud that the plan says roadmap for creating a dementia capable Michigan, that we wanted to be more, we want to be capable. We want to be capable in our services and what we provide. Was really happy, as I mentioned earlier, that we said dementia and all forms of dementia, and didn't and which is more inclusive than just saying Alzheimer's disease. Like you, my husband has vascular dementia. When I read something and it says Alzheimer's, I frequently think, does that apply to me? Where when it says dementia, I feel more included. We were also very, very careful with our language. And we went through the document, we combed through the document. It's surprising to me how many documents still talk about the burden that people are to society. That's the last thing we want to be, right? Is a burden to our family or society. We removed the words burden. Another pet peeve, people living with dementia, we frequently see suffering. And so we really moved away from the terms burden and suffering. And then I'm really happy that the #1 bullet under in a dementia capable state. So we have described a dementia capable state. So I'll wrap up by saying in Michigan, we said a dementia capable state, the #1 thing is people living with dementia are recognized as the real life experts when it comes to living with dementia.
Well, thank you, Brenda. That was wonderful. I know that you're going to be joining us for a discussion on October 3rd. That will be great. And we'll have you there to answer some questions that our audience might have.
That sounds great. Pauline, Lisa Dedden Cooper from AARP, who did a lot of the writing of the plan, will be there too.
Okay, that will be great. That will be great. We welcome her.
Good.
So I guess that about wraps it up. And
all right, I look forward to talking with the group about it.
Yeah, and I just want to let everybody know that this video will be playing on the YouTube channel as well as on our website, daanow.org. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel to see all of the videos that we have. So thank you very much, Brenda. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Connecting our lives to help us survive, so we live our time to the fullest we can.